There's a viral video going around with the claim, "Give me 60 seconds and I'll prove Christianity is true." The speaker fires off a series of assertions from the crucifixion to mass hallucinations to the rise of Christianity as the state religion. It's a rapid-fire apologetic grenade. But today, I'm going to pull the pin, so to speak, do a 100% speed run, and examine each claim critically. We'll go point by point over this YouTube short.
Give me 60 seconds and I'll prove Christianity is true. Literally no serious historian denies that Jesus existed.
Right off the bat, he says literally no serious historian denies Jesus existed. This is the lie. You're appealing to scholarly consensus, which is, first of all, not necessarily a truth claim, and it's a misleading one. True, most scholars accept a historical figure named Jesus likely existed. What that means is minimal, though. A Galilean preacher who was crucified, perhaps. That doesn't mean they affirm the miracles, the resurrection, or divinity. And some scholars, like Richard Carrier on the history of Jesus, or Robert Price, the Christ myth theory and its problems, do question the historic view entirely. Is it a minority view? Sure. But the phrase, literally no serious historian, is not only arrogant, but false.
Literally no serious historian denies that Jesus existed, was crucified under Pontius Pilate.
So this claim is based largely on gospel narratives written decades later, probably at least 40 years after Jesus' life, and only one brief mention in Tacitus, a third-party source. But Paul never mentions Pilate, and Josephus' reference is likely partially interpolated, meaning, as scholar Bart Ehrman notes, historians infer crucifixion based on early Christian embarrassment and thematic consistency, but it's still an inference from theologically motivated sources.
And that his followers believe he rose again from the dead.
More modest and likely true of a claim, but the key is this: believing something doesn't make it real. People die for false beliefs all the time, and martyrdom proves only sincerity, not truth. As pointed out by Gerd Ludman in The Resurrection of Jesus, visionary experiences explain early resurrection claims without appealing to the supernatural. And if you also buy this claim, then you need to start taking Mormons seriously, who say people died for their witness of the golden plates, for example.
So the question is, were they lying?
Unlikely, sure. But the better explanation isn't lying or telling the truth, it's that they were simply mistaken. Psychological studies show how grief, trauma, and religious expectation can produce powerful visions. People see dead loved ones, divine figures, you name it. And in the ancient world, visionary experiences were part of the religious landscape.
But these men were tortured, crucified, and executed for their beliefs. Not one of them cracked to save their lives. People don't die for a lie. Skeptics might say, maybe they hallucinated. But hallucinations don't happen in groups. Over 500 people claimed to see Jesus after his death.
Group hallucinations? Perhaps not. But mass visionary experiences? Absolutely. Marian apparitions like Fatima, UFO sightings, and cult visions show how expectations and suggestions can create shared experiences. And that 500 people claim, it's from a single verse in 1 Corinthians 15:6. Paul doesn't name, however, a single person from that group, and there's no corroboration. Not a documented event, it's a claim from Paul, who also never met Jesus and is reporting on a story he heard from 40 years ago.
Eating, talking, walking, that's not a hallucination, that's an event.
Actually, vivid visionary experiences can include touch, smell, and sound. Studies of sleep paralysis and bereavement visions confirm this. And the gospel accounts of Jesus eating are theological motifs, appearing decades later in Luke and John, meant to combat Docetism, not report forensic facts.
And Jesus' tomb? It was public. Anyone could have opened it and produced Jesus' dead body.
Except we have no independent evidence that there even was a tomb. Paul doesn't mention one. Mark's earliest ending has no resurrection appearance. Joseph of Arimathea only appears in later Gospels. As John Dominic Crossan argues in The Birth of Christianity, Jesus may have received a dishonorable burial common to crucified criminals.
The Jewish and Roman leaders wanted everything to stop this movement. All they could have done is produce a body, but they couldn't because there was no body because Jesus rose again from the dead. In less than 300 years, Christians went from being thrown to the lion's den to becoming the official religion of the Roman Empire.
Rapid growth is not evidence of truth. Islam spread even faster after Muhammad. Mormonism grew in less than 200 years than Christianity did, right? So Christianity's rise involved social cohesion, political adoption, and theological adaptability. It didn't need a miracle to happen.
Give me 60 seconds and I'll prove Christianity is true.
If truth could be proven in 60 seconds, there'd be no need for faith. And what you've shown is not proof, but persuasion and rhetoric. And persuasion, especially when built on flawed history, appealing to emotions and theological assumptions, is not the same as truth. And time. Anyway, Christianity's claims deserve critical thought, not these kinds of sound bites. If you're willing to look past these slogans and examine the sources, you'll find there's a lot less certainty than these confident claims suggest, and a lot more room for skepticism. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe for more content. We have an active community on Discord as well.